on 1st down and 10 from the 15. And on the ground, get used to a big load of Karan Higdon.
Big play on the first offensive play for Michigan. They're in this split back set. I think it's the first time they've shown it all season. Let's look at the backside. You got JBB on a cut block. You got a Winu on a reach block here on the front side, and then you got Ruiz pushing for this defensive tackle. Their goal is just to not let any penetration on the backside here. So you'll see, 91 is kind of getting to the backfield, but no one really gets in Higdon's way on the backside, so mission accomplished. You got Bradison and Runyon on an important block on this edge rusher here. You're going to see Runyon fall off for this backside linebacker. Overall, they do a pretty good job on this edge rusher. You see, they don't get that great of push, but they get the inside leverage on him. And then you see Runyon on 22 here. He really picks up a really critical block in order to give some room for Higdon on the outside. So good job by Runyon there. Let's look at both Gentry and DPJ on this one. So Gentry's going to kind of briefly hold up for this edge defender, make sure that the linemen have time to get out to him before heading out to this front side linebacker. Really important block for him on this. Notice that DPJ notices this cornerback shooting upfield. I don't know if he's coached to do this, but he kind of leaves him and goes upfield. It turns out to be the right decision. Notice that Gentry is also picking up this linebacker. This linebacker is going to take himself out of the play just by nature of going outside. Notice this cornerback also took himself out of the play. And DPJ now has a one-on-one block here that he does. He gets just enough of that defender in order to spring Higdon to the outside here. So back to why he leaves this cornerback. I think he's expecting Ben Mason to kind of kick him out here. Instead, Ben Mason continues up through the hole. He ends up not really blocking anybody. Again, I don't know if that's coaching. It seems like maybe he should be turning inside and picking up this block, given that DPJ is already here. So, this might be coaching. I'm not sure. If Ben Mason would have continued upfield and gotten this block, it seems like Higdon might have been able to break it for a TD, but overall it's a really good play regardless.
And it buys a much better field position now. Here's Patterson throwing on the run and completing the Ben Mason. Hurdles.
Last year we saw Chris Evans with the hurdle. This year it's Ben Mason, which is phenomenal. Notice that this is the same formation of the last play. Notice how Michigan's offensive linemen are all slanting left again, similar to that last play we just analyzed. And that's because of this play action for Higdon. That's going to force these linebackers to stay home a bit, and that'll open up some of the passing lanes that you'll see on this play. So good play design. I like how Michigan ran this right after their last successful run. One difference, notice JBB here, he's got this one-on-one block to ensure this defensive end doesn't get into the backfield here. And then this edge defender, this play really focuses on the athleticism for Patterson to be able to get around this edge rush, but also this edge defender to be looking at Higdon's action away from the play. So it really banks on that. It does what he needs to do here, and JBB also does a good job on the right side, caving down his defender. Let's look at routes on the play. At the top of the screen, you're going to have Nico Collins running a deep crossing route. You're going to have Gentry with an inside release flag route, it looks like. Bottom of the screen, you can't really see it, but DPJ, I think, is just running a fade route. It's a terrible fade route. He's just running a fade route to get the defensive back out of the zone. And then you're going to have Ben Mason cutting across the face of Patterson into this flat route that eventually gets thrown to. So again, I think this play design is designed to really get Ben Mason open. I want you to look here at this linebacker and how out of position he is. His eyes are clearly on Higdon. He's way out of position for this route that Ben Mason is on. Patterson's looking at it the entire way. It delivers a nice catchable ball for Ben Mason to make some plays, and the rest is just Ben Mason being a guy being a dude, as Don Brown would probably say, and just really athletic play. So great job overall.
On the field, whatever field it's been, whatever sport. On 3rd and 10, 6-1 across.
I usually don't review 11-yard pickups, but I really liked the route design on this one. Michigan has 5 blockers in, as well as Higdon temporarily to deal with only 3 rushers from Maryland. Overall, they do a really good job, and Michigan doesn't have any issues here. Notice that the pocket is still here for Patterson at the time of the throw, so no issue there on pass protection. In terms of routes, I mentioned Higdon. It looks like he's initially pass blocking, but then he kind of goes out for this spot route, but that's really late. At the bottom of the screen, you look like you kind of have a delayed in route here from DPJ. Again, not really a big route that'll get looked at in this play. At the top of the screen, you're going to have Nico Collins kind of on a deep post route, maybe a deep dig route. But the key of this play is really this route combo between Perry and Gentry. You're gonna have Gentry running a flag route, so he's gonna run upfield and then cut outside. It's kind of a skinny flag route. You're going to have Perry outside release before he's running his slant route off of the butt of Gentry. This outside release is really key, so I want you to mainly take a look at those route combos. And Patterson's reading that the whole way. So this view will give you a better view of this route. So notice how Gentry's going straight up field and how Perry is releasing outside of that. Given that Perry released outside, that forces this defensive back who's on Perry to shade outside as well to map to ensure that, no outside route. He'll be able to get in front of Gentry in case of an outside route from Perry. Given that, at this point, now he's out of position. This is when Perry's getting into his break. This defensive back can't do anything except go under the route, and that gives distance for Perry on that route. So that creates the spacing that you see here between the defensive back and Perry, and that gives the window for Patterson to deliver the ball. So really clever play design. It's a good catch.
.com/Taco Bell to see how your school can compete. Here's Shea Patterson to throw as all sorts of time, and he's a wide open set. Gentry.
26-yard pickup from Patterson to Gentry here. Maryland's only sending 4, and you notice right away that this is a really clean pocket for Patterson to operate in. You'll notice later, right now 59 is getting this path up the middle, but at this point Patterson's already locked in on the route he's going to throw to, and the pressure doesn't really get to Patterson, so not too upset there. As far as routes go, Nico Collins kind of running a fake slant go route. You have McCune doing this kind of box route. I know there's a better term for it, but it's an outside release, kind of like a post pattern here. Gentry with a deep crossing route right off of the butt of McCune's route there. Flat route from Ben Mason out to the left, and then kind of this spot route off of the play action for Higdon. It'll kind of sit in the zone here. Right off of the play action to Higdon, it looks like he's looking right at this safety, see kind of what depth he's taking, and he's probably also looking at Gentry's route right here on the linebacker. I think next he's looking over at this safety, see if he's locking in on the route from McCune, as well as maybe this linebacker to see if he's following, if he's dropping into his zone, trying to get a feel for that other side. I think now he's probably looking either directly at this person, which zone he's going to be dropping into, or this cornerback to ensure that he's clearing the zone for this crossing route from Gentry. And then I think he's probably looking right now at the zone that Gentry's falling into, but he's also kind of, I think, baiting this linebacker to ensure he covers Mason, because you can see now he finally shifts back to Gentry, where he was kind of looking a little bit towards this way. I think that's to get this defender to suck up a bit and also not tip off this linebacker to drift back into the zone. So I think he kind of sells it with his eyes. He delivers a good ball to Gentry here. So overall, great throw and good play.
2nd down and 7. Here's Patterson to throw. Has all sorts of time. Airs it out down the field.
Big pickup of 51 yards to Collins here. Michigan leaves 6 in to block 4 initial rushers from Maryland. You can see here they create a pretty nice pocket for Patterson here. He's got all time in the world to throw this ball. So good initial protection there for sure. Let's look at the routes. On the outside here, you got DPJ and Collins both running post routes. And this is to isolate the safe. There's a high safety over here, and it's going to isolate him in order to have to choose one of these post routes to cover. On the outside here, you got Gentry running a flag route kind of off the butts of both of these post routes. And then off of the play action, you got Higdon running an out route. As far as the eyes for Patterson, right off of the play action, you see him look outside first. It looks like he's looking probably both at DPJ and Collins to try to understand what the coverage is. You'll notice his eyes keep switching from all the way to the left, probably on Patterson, to the right. And I think this is to judge the distance between the guy who's covering Collins as well as this safety here, seeing where he's at. Since he followed DPJ, that allows this open area for Nico Collins to run into for his route. So it's a good recognition from Patterson and a really good catch from Collins despite the pass interference there. So great play.
3rd and 3. Patterson thrown across his body. It's caught!
Second touchdown of the season for Ronnie Bell. Notice the offensive line here will be blocking down to their right. This is the sell the play action for Higdon over here. The goal is also to hold up this edge rusher by this play action, and that'll allow Patterson some time when he actually does roll out. So you'll see it accomplishes what they want. And Patterson has a lot of room here to kind of operate and go through his read progressions. So good job there. Let's look at routes. You have Perry on a post route here. You're going to have Collins on a shallow cross. You're going to have Ronnie Bell on a deeper cross. Then you're going to have Gentry coming across here into the flats here. As far as the eyes for Patterson, he's first looking kind of at the depth of how this route plus the post route from Perry is going to shake out. So I think he's analyzing the coverage there, seeing what this side of the field is doing, analyzing the spacing here. He probably sees that, both this cornerback and safety are covering Perry here, and then Gentry also has 2 defenders. So that's probably why he's thinking something will be coming open late across the middle from Ronnie Bell. And now you can see he's starting to look over here, given that the safety is turned away from Ronnie Bell's route coming over here. He's getting pressure late, so this is a good time to throw. I think it's the right penalty. And I think, Michigan got kind of fortunate that this guy slipped. Say he didn't slip and broke on the ball correctly, a better player might intercept that ball. Ball placement in terms of Ronnie Bell's route is good. It's just a matter of this guy, not playing the ball correctly and kind of slipping. But, great job for Ronnie Bell to get that pass.
For Gentry, True Wilson in the game now for Michigan. They'll fake it to him. Patterson has some pressure, throws it down at a man. It is
holding penalty takes back what I would say is Patterson's best throw as a Wolverine. Maryland sending 5 with Michigan keeping 7 into block. They keep a really good pocket here from the offensive line and Gentry here on the edge. No one really gets through or threatens that. Key matchup here is True Wilson picking up the edge rusher for Maryland. He gets beat inside here, and this is where the holding is called. We'll take a closer look there, but notice he is getting to Patterson. Patterson's forced to throw off the back foot. Now, would I call this holding? Probably not, for 2 reasons. Number one, it's a very short amount of time that he actually did hold him. It looks more exaggerated than it actually was, since this was the only brief half second of holding. It doesn't look like that impeded the defender at all. The defender himself decides to stumble, or he just trips. And then not only is there this initial trip, but then he kind of hops up and flops around. Notice that the ref is not pulling his flag right now when the actual contact was made. Only after he flops down do you actually see this flag coming into the top of your frame here. So it seems like the penalty was called more off of the reaction of the defender than the offense itself. So it is what it is. As far as routes go, you got this weird route from Gentry, kind of like a fade hook route. I don't know if that's what you call it. Then you got deep posts from both DPJ and Collins on this right side. As far as eyes for Patterson, off the play action, he's looking right at that safety that'll be covering the deep route for DPJ. Delivers a great ball off his back foot. Just a shame that the penalty wiped that out.
Pressure up the middle. Patterson, elusive, throwing on the lawn and completing. It's Peoples-Jones. I guess he's fine. Donovan.
Great scramble from Patterson on a really well-designed blitz from Maryland. This guy on the edge to occupy Runyon. This defensive tackle to occupy both Patterson and Ruiz. Linebacker number 15 looping through into this A gap in order to occupy Onwenu. And then you're going to have this edge defender to occupy JBB. That will leave a free space for this linebacker to come blitzing. And you'll see what I mean on the occupation here. So this leaves Patterson blocking nobody, and it leaves this right side overload. You have no one to block this linebacker through this giant gap. As a result, that takes Patterson off his read, and he has to improvise here. Let's look at routes. He's off screen, you can't see him, but Nico Collins runs a fly route. You're going to have a shallow cross from DPJ that eventually comes open. Deep cross from Eubanks here. It's kind of an angle route. And then you're going to have a fly route from True Wilson on the bottom of your screen. So I want to note here. So Patterson's on his read, it looks like, on this safety here. He's going to notice this pressure. Notice how he initially goes this way. He knows that he has all of his routes on this side of the field. It's a deliberate attempt by him to get this linebacker to cut this way before he eventually loops around. So I think it's a really good job by Patterson to create space for himself in this situation. Now let's look at the coverage over here on this right side. You're going to notice DPJ coming on this cross, and this defender will point it out. Turns out both these defenders, neither one of them picks up DPJ on the crossing route since they're in a zone. I think, but number 27's in man-to-man. That leaves a really wide open zone over here. So that's why DPJ is wide open. Notice that now he's noticing Patterson scrambling. He's checking, should I stay in this zone? Should I continue across the field where Patterson's going? Throws his hand up to get the pass. And then notice this convoy, all three of these guys, Eubanks, Gentry, and Wilson all pick up blocks here, and they do a good job to create a lane for Peoples-Jones out the sideline. So really good job all around.